let's do this. I had some requests after doing the pedalboard videos, which were really fun, and I've been using this board for the past a little over a month, and it's great. It sounds great, looks great. It's been solid. But there were plenty of people that were asking, what does it sound like? Can you give us some samples of what these pedals sound like? So I'm gonna try. I hope this works. I have my amp mic'd up today. It's my Magnatone Twilighter, 112 speaker, 22 watts, awesome. I have it mic'd up with an SM57 to just be normal, not use anything out of the ordinary, and I hope this all works, so we'll see. Let's dive in. Oh, this is the guitar that I've been playing pretty much all of 2019. It's a 2016 Gibson Firebird. I didn't have a lot of experience with Firebirds, but I kept being drawn to them, and I love it. I love it. You can get to any frets you want, which I appreciate. If there are frets on a guitar, your hand should be able to get there. The stock pickups were not super awesome. So these are Lindy Fralin Firebird pickups, and the guitar sounds fantastic now. Ooh, ambulance. Timeout. I'll grab a sip of coffee while I wait for the ambulance to go by. Ah, that's delicious. Okay, this is the guitar going into the board. It's going into G2 and out. So this is the direct sound. Let's go through the pedals in order in signal chain. So jumping from clean, the first thing that the guitar sees is the Sunface NKT Red Dot by Analog Man. That is a Fuzzface clone. This is the Sunface. And does it clean up with the volume knob? Ask the neck pickup. That's the Sunface. The first loop in G2 labeled Fuzz is the Henrietta Purple Octopus Octavia pedal, so like a clean octave, not like a Pog octave up. It's like an analog octave up, Hendrixy type of thing. Also in the loop is the JHS Muffaletto, which is, I think, 48 different big muffs in one box. But I like to run the octave into the muff. Let's check them out by themselves real quick. Here's the Octavia by itself, which always sounds a little insane. Octavias always sound better. It's like treble boosters going into like a dirty amp or a dirty pedal. But here it is by itself. Chords get super weird with it. Don't play chords with it. Don't play major 7, sharp 11s with it. Beautiful. And here is the JHS Muffaletta by itself. Here's the JHS Muffaletta by itself. I have the tone rolled pretty far back, so it's a little bit darker. And then when you throw the octave into it, it gets so mean. I'll start with just the muff, and then I'll throw in the octave, and you'll hear how angry it gets. Here's just the muff. Here's the Octavia with it. What happened at the end there? Don't play that chord either. So that's the insane fuzziness. So mad. Next is the Origin Effects Cali 76 compressor. This thing is like butter. Here's the clean signal. Let's do the both pickups together in phase. Here's the Cali 76. First off, for me, a compressor has to have the clean blend, so it's not compressing the whole signal. You still got some dry coming through, but it lengthens the notes after the transients. Everything else gets beefier afterwards. So I use that. We'll get to the Kingsley Page in a second. My core clean tone, which is not very clean, really, is the compressor, the Cali 76, and the Kingsley Page on together. Okay, let's keep the compressor on and add the MXR Phase 95. This phaser is awesome. It's very affordable. It's a Phase 90 script, a Phase 90 block, a Phase 45 script, and a Phase 45 block, all in a tiny box, and it's great. I usually use the Phase 45 because it's a little chiller. Here's the Phase 95. Speed it up. All right, now to the pedal that gets used probably the most of anything on the board is the Kingsley Page. This has a tube in it. It's a tube boost. The purpose of this pedal for me is to make it sound like the amp is a little bit gainier than it is, because I don't run amps dirty for two reasons. One, if I turned that Magnatone Twilighter up to a point where it's breaking up on its own a little bit, every sound guy would tell me to turn down. It's loud. It's really loud. If I got that thing to the volume on the amp at about 11 o'clock and it's cooking, no one would accept that. Everyone in the band would be like, this is bad, you're hurting us. Then all the pedals react differently if it's going into a dirtier amp. The Page is my ability to get to edge a breakup at the right volume. Here's the dry signal again. Here's the Page. Without it. With it. If I turn the compressor on with the Page, it's leveling out the input, it's beefing up the input going into the pedal, so there's more sustain and there is more gain, not on the front end of the note, but the sustain is kind of gainier. So this way it sounds like the amp is turned up even more. Kind of like if the amp's cooking enough, the power tubes, like things are kind of compressing a bit. If I run the Cali 76 into the page, this is what it sounds like. Here's just the page. Here's what the compressor. And then if I play quietly, it's still kind of loud, which is good. So here it is, middle position with the compressor and the page. Yeah! What's next? What's next? Another pedal from Kingsley. This is the Kingsley Minstrel, which I've had it came during the pedalboard build. So overdrive wise, I always have a pedal that makes it sound like the amp is breaking up when it's really not. That's the page. And then I have one that sounds like rock music. I'm not saying this is what this pedal sounds like exactly, but for me, if I want like a rock guitar tone, it's AC/DC. That tone to me is what rock rhythm is supposed to be. It's still articulate, there's sustain, you could hear each string separately. It's so good. So to me, that's like the top of the mountain rock rhythm tone. Okay, so here is the Minstrel. I'll play something slightly AC/DC sounding. It has various gain settings. That was gain 1. Here's the second gain setting. Next in the signal chain is the Archer Icon by J-Rocket Audio. This is a Klon type of pedal, and I use it for solo boosts. The good thing about Klons is that once you start winding up the gain, even only to 9 o'clock, which is where I have it, it adds this pointy, focused mid-range that's around like 1K or something. I don't know. Look it up. It's around there. And man, I remember when I first got this pedal, I turned it on for a solo, and it was just like this EQ that like takes the band mix and just goes, that's it cutting through. Let's go back to the Minstrel on gain setting 1, and then I'll kick on the Archer. Archer. Off. On. Very nice. If you need to be heard for a solo, that works. Coffee. Let's do some chorus. This is the Julia by Walrus. Man, it rules. You can go full chorus. You can blend towards the clean side, or you can blend towards just the modulated vibrato side, which is sweet. And I found a setting recently I really like. So here is a chorusy setting. It's leaning a little bit towards the dry signal, so it's not like too chorusy. I'll use the compressor and the page, and then here is the here's the chorus. And I've been doing this sound a lot recently. My buddy Huddy, my friend Huddy has a business selling all types of guitar parts, and he also does custom wiring harnesses for guitars. If you are interested in changing out the electronics in your guitar, the pots, any of the wiring, he'll do whatever you want. He'll wire it up. If you're like, oh, I want to use this pot and I want to do like Jimmy Page wiring and I want this knob to be push pull and do it out of phase, or like whatever, he'll do it. And he's a super nice guy, and his prices are probably better than anyone else you'll find. So my buddy Huddy, when he installed the Fralin pickups, and we also did a new wiring harness and pots and everything, this guy right here, push pull, when in the middle position, knocks one of the pickups out of phase. I forget which one it is actually now. I was using that like it's kind of like nasty bluesy out of phase thing, like that was in phase. So here's in phase. Here it is out of phase. And it would make me play like that, you know, kind of bluesy sounding. And then I realized if you throw some delay and reverb and chorus on it, even though it's not the same, it kind of can fake a Strat middle position, like 2 or 4 position in a band mix. So here's the chorus with it out of phase. I like that. Let's dial up a vibrato setting. I found this setting recently and I really liked it. This is the pedal all the way on the vibrato setting, and it's fast and the depth is down a lot. I really like this sound too. Here it is off. And with the Julia in vibrato mode. Tasty. All right, let's keep the compressor and the page on. Let's go to the tonal recall. Awesome analog delay with tons of functionality. I have 3 presets on the board. Let's go through them real quick. The first one is fairly simple delay. I always have this set that if I tap on it, it's doing a dotted eighth. So I'll use it in conjunction with the other delay, and I'll be able to tap on both of them. And the timeline will do the tempo that I'm tapping. And the tonal recall will be a dotted eighth subdivided against the tempo that I'm tapping. So here's my preset number 1. Nice. Here's the second setting. This setting is basically a really washy delay. On this setting, I have the modulation of the delay, the speed and the depth over time. It's like somebody sitting there and turning them from really low and turning them up to pretty high and back really slowly. So you'll hear just on the delay repeats, the speed and the depth of the modulation goes like and slows down. That was a really good imitation. Compressor and page still on. Here's the tonal recall preset 2. I'm gonna turn the mix way up so we can hear a little bit better. I love that setting. I use it a lot. And then here is the number 3 setting, which is a slapback, off, on. I love slapback. I use it a lot. Just one repeat, short, without being so close it's like doubling it. Here it is without it. With it. Lovely. Next is the Strymon timeline. Way too much to dive into. The setting that I use probably 90% of the time is a tape setting that I tried to model after the Catalan bred Bell Epoch. This is the clearer delay that's kind of tapey, and that contrasts with I always have an analog delay too with the timeline. So this is the Bell Epoch setting that I use, the tape thing on the timeline. But there's obviously tons of settings. Like there's one setting that I have in one band that does this. This is a setting I made. It's really weird. What's kind of creepy sounding? Spooky. Here's another setting that I use when I need just more delay. It's the Bucket Brigade one. More repeats, more of a mix. But usually it's this setting. So this is now the timeline and the tonal recall on at the same time. The timeline is getting the quarter note delay. The tonal recall is getting the dotted eighth. When you have a quarter note delay and a dotted eighth note delay, and you hit them hit the strings, you should hear. I dropped my pick. You hear this. So let's see if I tapped it in right. That's when you know you got it. So here's both of the delays together. This is all still with the compressor and the page on because those are on almost all the time. Here is the Ventress by Source Audio. Got this recently. It's a whole lot of reverb. This first setting is plate reverb. Now, remember, there is still verb on the amp. Actually, I'll go turn it off. Be right back. Yep. All right, so no verb on the amp. Here's the first setting that I use on the Ventris. This is a plate setting, and it's not too much, not too little. It's actually a pretty decent amount of reverb. This is the second setting that I use, which is a Hall reverb. Longer, higher mix, more. It's got a spring reverb type of thing. Here's like a really long one. All right, the last thing in line is the Super Trem 2 by Fulltone. This, I'm using one amp today. Sometimes I use two. The awesome thing about this tremolo pedal is that it's stereo in and stereo out. And then it has this phase correlation knob. What it's essentially doing is, instead of having both speakers, the volume of both speakers go up and down, which is what tremolo is doing, it starts to do that. What that basically means is it's panning back and forth between the two amps, which sounds awesome, but I only have one amp hooked up right now. So here's how I usually set it. I like tremolo fast. My thinking is that if it's fast, you'll never be paying attention too much to whether or not it's like in time with the song. I don't think tremolo has to be in time with the song. Ooh, let's turn the verb back. Turn the verb back on the amp. What? Okay, so here's the Super Trem 2. All right. Okay, so that's all the pedals. Let's do this really quick. Let's run through every one of them really quickly, individually. And then let's turn them all on. I'll do it. Clean tone. Sunface. Purple Octopus and Muffaletta. Compressor. Phaser. Page. Minstrel. Klon by itself, which never happens. Archer icon. Chorus still set to vibrato. Tone of recall. Tone of recall 2. Slapback with the page and compressor. Keep the compressor and the page on because they should be on. Timeline. Verb. Verb and trim. Add both delays and the chorus. And everything on. Screw it. Oh God. Okay, so that's all the pedals. Thanks again to everybody that watched the pedalboard build videos. Thanks to you guys that asked to hear some of this stuff. I hope you liked it. I'll see how this video does in terms of like trying to sync the audio and stuff. Maybe I could do little short videos in the future about some of the different guitars and amps and stuff that I have. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I'm gonna play a little bit more. So I'll see you later.